We'll move on to our next presentation, which is District Attorney's Office. District Attorney Susan Cronus will be giving this presentation.
Good afternoon. So, to start off with accomplishments for 2024, successfully prosecuted several high-profile cases. We always get those very serious high-profile cases every year. But, you know, including sexual assault, obviously there's murder cases and other serious violent crimes, financial fraud cases. We finally finished 2024 into 2025, towards the end, a financial fraud case that had been around for several years, going back to 2020. So basically through no fault of our office, but there were a lot of changes in attorneys for these particular defendants. So anyway, we finally concluded that, which is an accomplishment, and it did go to trial with a conviction. So we are constantly, you know, obviously we have a large amount of cases that we're dealing with every year, felony and misdemeanors, and so we are trying to keep up with those cases. We have implemented new charging procedures to comply with the racial blind charging law. Basically, for those of you that don't know what that is that as of January 2nd of this year, this applies to most of our cases, but not all, so not domestic violence cases, not child sexual assault cases or sexual assault cases, but most of our cases that come in now, before they are reviewed, they have to be redacted. From the name has to be redacted, and the race and any other identifying items that would kind of identify what race they are, culture that they are. And that's a state law, unfunded, of course, by the state. So we have some substantial money that we had to put out for a redactive service, and it is costing us a lot of time, and it will cost a lot of money to have each case, basically thousands of cases, redacted before they go to the attorney. It also takes extra time for that attorney to review it twice, because it has to be the same attorney to review it. So that's a factor that is, you know, obviously going to take more time to charge cases. And so we probably next budget year, we will be requesting additional clerk, legal assistant positions in order to have that additional help to do those redactions. Our victim witness office services, over 1,800 victims and family members served, which is, I believe, an increase from last year. They do a tremendous work. This is including going to court with victims, meeting with victims, interviewing child victims. We did 37 interviews of children at our Hope Center in 2024. And of course, a lot of those cases go on to be criminal cases that we file and then go to trial on. Okay, next slide. So, points of emphasis. We're implementing the new law under Prop 36 with an emphasis on drug treatment and reduction of retail theft. A lot of you know about the law. In terms of, especially with drug treatment, Our emphasis, my emphasis, is getting people drug treatment. I think when they're in possession of drugs, now if you have 2 misdemeanor or felony priors of possession of drugs, now we can charge a felony drug case even though it is only a possession case. That's the change in the law, but then it would be mandated that they do drug treatment program, which is a good thing. And that's what we're hoping for, that people will successfully complete the drug treatment program. Some people might not want to do that, then they are looking at a felony. I'm going to not overdo it. I mean, obviously, if someone has 5 prior cases of possession and they only have like a gram or 2, we're not going to just say automatically a felony, but we just look at the record to see, if you have that many drug possession cases, you probably need help, and you've been offered help through the drug diversion, and you haven't taken advantage of it, or you've not been successful. And of course, retail theft is basically where if you have 2 or more prior thefts under $950, then the third one now can be charged as a felony, even though it's not $950 or more, or actually over $950. So that, I think, will help our retail stores in the area, that they will, it's a great tool to reduce retail theft. We have to increase our efforts to recruit. We have key personnel retiring maybe at the end of this year and the next year. I just lost 2 deputy DAs, so I'm down to 8 plus 2, me and my chief. And that has caused a substantial burden on the remaining deputies. So I'm going to increase efforts to fill those positions. And we're transitioning to an updated case management system. Hopefully this year, that's going to improve efficiency, I believe, tremendously. Once we get all trained on it, it's going to be, we're going to be able to, we spend a lot of time doing transcripts. We have to farm that out to a company and pay for it. We also have videos that we have to, might want to clip to edit it, and that takes time. So this system we would be able to do all of that. We would be able to send our discovery to defense attorneys and the public defender's office more efficiently, and the attorneys will be able to more efficiently see the whole case file on this system. So hopefully that's going to be happening in September or October of this year. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is data points and metrics. This is from 2023 because we basically do these stats at the end of the year. We haven't had a chance to do them. I think that they're going to be pretty consistent with 2024 should be pretty consistent with this number. And then the last slide is, what are we going to be, data points are we going to be using metrics that we're going to be following? Number of cases referred, filed, rejected, and number of trials. Number of public served by the victim witness, of course, we keep track of that. Number of forensic interviews, we keep track of that already. A number of public outreach efforts through media and social and events. I think that's going to be something new that we're going to keep track of so that we can show how we're engaging in the community. A lot of that would be through victim witness, but it could be through our DA's office as well, the main office. And I think it's important, obviously, to keep these statistics. Once we get the new case management system, it will be a lot easier to keep these numbers have these numbers available for the board and the community. Any questions?
Vice Chair Rasmussen.
Yeah, just a question. You mentioned the prosecutor staff. Are the investigator positions all full?
We have positions open. We just had an investigator position. Well, we had a welfare fraud investigator position leave, and that's going to be filled. And then we're going to have, I believe, somebody, a current person in our office, go to that position, and then we're going to have a position filled. But we are having several investigators going to be retiring either the end of this year or the following year.
Thank you.
Supervisors Mtg.
Yeah, thank you. The new software you're looking at getting, is that something that can also be shared and utilized, obviously with vastly different data sets, with our public defender's office? Because I know we were looking at software upgrades there, and would that be a similar package that could be utilized?
Well, we have talked to them, and Mr. Buenaventura, maybe he can address that as well. I know that they do have a system that they're working with. I don't know what kind of system it is, but I have talked to him about that, the public defender, about that. And I'm not sure if that's going to be feasible. I don't think that there will be a discount. But I think it would have to be done separately. But the advantage would be is that we can exchange discovery and other things more easily if we had the same system. There is a corresponding defense oriented system with that company.
Gotcha. And then for the racial blind, are we just contracting with like an AI type of thing? Because I thought I went through a conference session with DA Reisig from Yolo County, who worked with a couple nonprofits in Stanford University to create like an AI system. Are we hiring somebody to manually do it, or? Well,
we are using a company that has basically a program that takes out the data that needs to be taken out. They worked with us at the end of the year. They provided the system free at the end of the year. They worked with us because each county has different reports from their sheriff's office. They're all different formats. So it took several months for the company to be able to redact every format of law enforcement report. So it is a company that we are paying, and we did look into the free, so-called free research companies, but that really wouldn't work efficiently. So we are our new case management system, once that's implemented, they will have the same system, and then we can go with them, and it would be included in our price that we pay for that.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, anyone in the chambers would like to comment on this presentation in Zoom? I'll close public input and bring it back to the board. Supervisor Sabat.
I apologize. I know that there's timelines for at least misdemeanors so that they can get filed or go to court or whatever that timeline is. I believe it's a year.
Correct. Most misdemeanors.
Is it possible to get a number of those that may have lapsed that year in those metrics that you bring back in the following year?
Yes, and once we have that system, it would be easier to track. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And just recognizing the highlight of 1,800 victims and family members, the department in victim services, how many employees? I mean, I know, but I just want to give like a picture as to how much they're doing with that group of victims and whatnot, the victim witness services.
Right, and I forgot to mention, right now, we're really bare bones in our victim witness office. So we have the interviewer. She is also filling in for doing advocacy work. We have our the head of the department, and then we have one advocate.
Right.
So we're really, really understaffed, but in spite of that, they are doing a fantastic job. This could be from, people coming in, having questions about protective orders, calling about their case, informing them, witnesses, about when court is, if it was continued. It also includes setting up travel arrangements for trial. It includes helping with actually going to court with victims before they testify, and helping them to prepare an impact statement. They do so much, and a lot of times when they're in court, they are just there as support. That could take all day. They also help the attorneys when they meet with cases where there are victims. They're there as well. So it takes up a lot of time, and unfortunately, being down by 2 advocates right now, it's been difficult.
Right. Thank you for giving that picture. Worry about fatigue, but at the same time, I just wanted to highlight that the amount per capita, what's happening. So.
Right.
There's not any other questions. We'll go ahead and wrap up this presentation for the District Attorney's Office. Thank you, Susan.